Say hello to her.
Hey, Shan.
What's up?
Ready?
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Alrighty. Zay.
You know, shit, y'all funny. Like y'all do know each other, so y'all can't like kind of like talk to each other. I don't know what's wrong.
This
with
is
y'all.
about the same as how I talk to DJ. The same amount. I talk to him all the time.
You do this interview. You all right? You hot? Because how it feels standing right there.
I'm alright.
Are you?
Fantastic.
Oh, okay. So you can hear me well in that then, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Is that an American flag?
No, it's Puerto Rican.
I guess it's almost patriotic.
It's about as patriotic as I'm gonna get.
But you served in the army.
Allegedly.
Okay. First question.
Damn.
Just jump straight into it, huh?
Yeah. No introductions, no nothing.
Was that not saying when I said your guys' names? Is that not enough of an introduction?
What's your name? I don't know. Maybe you want to ask because maybe they want to know who we are. You don't think so?
All right. What are your guys' roles in the movie?
What movie?
I don't even know what you're talking about. What am I here for?
Son cooking him already. Look at him. Can't even think straight.
Just
Okay.
are you cooked?
No, I'm cool. Okay. These are interview questions for the movie Good Seats. Can you guys state what your roles were in the movie and your names?
Oh, introduce ourselves. Got it.
Got it.
Amen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now we got it. All right.
Yourselves to the people that don't understand what this is.
Okay.
Okay, well,
You first. Ladies first.
I'm Shan. I'm the director for Good Seats.
And I'm Zay. I am the writer and the producer of Good Seats.
Cool. Okay. An icebreaker question. If you had to describe your film to be any kind of sandwich, what would it be and why?
I'll let you go first on that one.
Why?
Because I'm like this, because I thought about this question earlier today and I went down this whole rabbit hole of like, I don't know, long story short, I was trying to question if I consider a hot dog a sandwich or not. Because, and I asked because I was like, it doesn't matter.
All right. So hot dog is what it is.
No.
Why would it be a hot dog?
No, because I was just thinking about all the types of sandwiches, and then I just went down the line, and then I was like, I visualized the meat and bread, and then I got to a hot dog, and I was like, is a hot dog a sandwich?
So why would you even consider it a hot dog?
I wasn't considering a hot dog. I was considering whether or not a hot dog was a sandwich, because I was trying to figure out which sandwich.
So
that's why you should answer the question first. Go ahead.
All right. All right. Let's say. All right. So let's do it like this. I would say my Good Seats is like. It's like an Italian meatball sub. That's a sandwich.
But it's a sub.
It's a sandwich.
It's in the name.
It's a sandwich, though, right?
Yes, but why?
Because it's meaty and got a lot of sauce. You know what I mean?
Okay.
How about that? You like that one?
Okay, and how does that translate or correspond with? That's how you would describe the film?
Yeah, it's meaty with a lot of sauce.
Okay.
Like me.
The film is meaty with a lot of sauce.
Yeah.
What about it? A lot of sauce.
without telling the film, it has a lot of things that make you think, and the style of it is different from other films. So I ain't really seen no films like the one that I produced and that Shan directed. So I like the way, the different way it turned out. That's why I say it's meaty, because it got a lot to it. It has a lot to it, and also it, as well as it has having a lot to it itself, it's different. So, and we describe sauce, in the hip hop culture, because that's where I produce from, is in the hip hop culture, Black culture, American culture, and sauce is used as a word to describe the difference in yourself. So I would describe this movie as meaty with a lot of sauce.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Come on, meaty with a lot of sauce. That's it. Well, I would probably have to probably have to compare it to a PB&J sandwich. Because you got I guess from yours, the meatiness, that's where you get your protein from. But I don't eat meat like that, so I get my protein from the peanut butter. Mm-hmm. So like the meatiness on my sandwich, like the heart, like the strength of it is like, that's the peanut butter part. And then, the comedic relief, and the different flavors of it. Because, you can use jelly, you can use jam, it can be grape, it can be strawberry, it can be anything on a PB&J.
Okay.
And then you got the bread to kind of hold everything together, which I think we would probably be like the slices of bread. Because we had to do a lot of, holding together with, the
of all the different kind of flavors.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, if I had to give it that description, it would be a PB&J sandwich.
Okay. These next questions are about the development and the inspiration of the movie. Where did the initial idea for the story come from?
You want me to? Because I guess we might have. It's not two different versions, but maybe it's the way we tell it. But I guess so.
Because we have two different perspectives of the same situation.
Okay.
So we got hungry one day, and so Zay suggested that we walk to a nearby sandwich shop.
Not too far from here.
Yeah, not too far from here. And so we walked there, we walked in, and it literally, like, if you follow Good Seats, minus the one part, but like if you follow it, like that's exactly how it happened. So we were at the sandwich shop, and we ordered our food, and we sat down. From my perspective, I looked over and realized that we were sitting directly next to a trash can because someone came through the trayway. And I was like, ugh. Like, I remember thinking, like, I hate that we're sitting so close to the trash can. And then I looked around and I was like, where else could we have sat? And then I posed a question to Zay, and I was like, I don't think this is the best seat here. And then that's where the conversation started. And then the length of our conversation probably could have made a feature-length film because it got really in-depth, and it got really, really deep, and like we just kind of got lost in the conversation as we waited for our food. And then by the time we left, on the walk back, we were like, oh, well, we should do something with this. And Zay was like, I'm gonna write it. And I was like, all right, cool. And now we're here.
Yeah. So, and I will say that's pretty accurate, except for the part where she looked at me and said, we should do something with this, because it was definitely me who was like, man, this conversation, as soon as we ended the conversation, I said, damn, this conversation would be a 5 short film. And then I said, you know what, I'm gonna write it, make it happen. And she was like, well, go ahead, Mr. Writer. If you're gonna write it. Because if I do it, I'm gonna do it this, that, and the other. And I'm just like,
I literally just showed you a video the other day of that conversation, and it did not go like that.
it did not.
No.
Pull the video up.
I'm not gonna pull it up right now,
All right,
but you will see it. But I already sent it to you.
All
Actually,
right.
you know what? I will, because it's in our text thread.
What's the name? Is it?
So it's like I sent it to you because we were just walking back, but you did say, "Hey, I'm going to write it," and I was like, "Yeah," like I'm saying, like.
Okay. We'll put the video up.
Yeah, we'll put the video up. Wait, you gonna put it up here? There's the video.
All right, and this is me watching it. And yes, see.
Okay.
All right, come on.
Okay. What made satire and experimental style the right approach for this particular narrative?
All right, I guess that would be for me because it all started in the writing, and when I was writing it, I was just like, I wanted to make it. I wanted to put a lot of clues in. I didn't want to play people like they were stupid. I want people to think when they start watching it and look at what it actually means. So the experimental part is as far as I was experimenting with the script and how we were going to shoot this, because we were experimenting with three different, or really 4 different main characters, but one happens to be in the group. And we're experimenting with having all of these characters have different stories going on at the same time and being able to show it well in the film.
Alrighty. And a question for both of you guys. How did your personal experiences growing up in Atlanta and for Zay, Newark, New Jersey, and Atlanta influence the characters or setting?
After I read the script, I kind of tapped into like my own kind of upbringing in regards to being a woman from the South. I'm a true Southern belle. Yes, darling. Relax, not too much. So it's like to be from the South and to live in the South is to know that we have like a very laid back culture. Everything's slower here, but at the same time, you get a lot of, because it's the original home of racism. So over the years and decades, that racism, even though it's still very apparent.
We the OHR?
So being down here, like over the years, obviously racism in 2025 is still very much alive and very prevalent in our social environment. But at the same time, like there are some Southerners who over generations have wanted to kind of part ways with it, but they still have, you meet that cool girl at the bar and she happens to be white, but then it's like, oh, y'all become best friends, but she can't take you home because Papa and Mima probably still got the Confederate flag, whole type situation. So it's like the generations are slowly being watered down, but having that Southern mentality is to be like what I call like the nice nasty. And an example of that is if you get like an old Southern woman and you say something, she's like, oh, bless your heart, darling. It sounds cute and it sounds nice, but to be a true Southerner, that is not a compliment at all, but it sounds sweet and it sounds nice, and it's like that nice nasty. So when thinking of that, I wanted a lot of the characters in the film to bring that out, where they're not overtly rude, and it's not directly in your face, but there are a lot of undertones of, stereotypes, bigotry and racism and stuff like that. And I didn't want it to be too in your face in regards to filming, because experiencing it every day in Atlanta and being a true Southern Georgia girl, it's not very in your face. It's very subtle, but it's still very prevalent.
As for me and being from North New Jersey and being raised in Atlanta, I got I guess perspectives from those environments, as far as teachings of my uncles, you know, and how they behave, and also living out here in Atlanta and being in the environment, growing up as a young adult, understanding that in both places that you have to be aware of your surroundings. I guess if I was to pull from a story like in Jersey, I remember once visiting my father. I was probably about 15, 16. And I was visiting my dad. He owned a shop. I remember. I probably was younger than 15. I definitely was. I was like really young, probably maybe 10. And he visited a shop in, he owned this shop in Montclair, New Jersey. And I remember I had traveled out there, and my dad had bought me this bright blue Laker jacket, and I was stunned. I remember was in the, you could say you was in the wrong neighborhood or whatever, not like that. And I remember these guys, you know, dressing, you know, their attire, and it was coming up on me, you know what I mean? And you know how you have to be aware of who's looking at you, who's thinking about something. And sometimes you can take preventative measures before something actually happens, if you being aware of your surroundings and know how to move. So that's how that would influence this film, because the way that my main character was talking was basically from the perspective of Black men who have to move certain type of ways and be aware of their surroundings. So, yeah.
Okay. What themes did you guys feel were most important for you to explore during the story?
For me, it was the oldie but goodie, never judge a book by its cover. I think initially them, Nate and Stephanie walking into the restaurant, they kind of had this expression to where, you know, especially Stephanie, she's like, you know, what kind of place did you bring me into? And then, of course, everyone else in the restaurant has certain stereotypes and judgments about Nate and Stephanie as them being the only Black patrons walking through the door. And overall, the general idea of Nate and Stephanie even being here in the first place is the fact that they just moved to this new neighborhood. And to Nate and Stephanie, this is the greener grass on the other side, so to speak. So they're moving here, they're trying to get out of, you know, the neighborhood that they came from, and they're thinking that they're moving into a safer, more livelier environment. And then as the movie progresses on, you start to realize that, hey, they made this judgment, or they judged this book by its cover, and it's not exactly what it turned out to be. And vice versa with, you know, with the passive aggressiveness coming from some of the employees at the diner. You can tell that they had their own preconceived notions about Nate and Stephanie that ultimately it turned out to not be true. So I definitely wanted to focus on that, and that was the thing that I was focused on in terms of, you know, getting the message across to the audience.
Continue.
You didn't want to answer that?
No, some of them questions I just directed for her. She came up with, she ain't come up with the theme, but you know, that's what we focused on in the film was everything. I didn't dictate anything, you know, as far as in what she shot. When she went in to shoot, I just did my best to support her. Whatever vision that she saw, because at the end of the day, we did go through this thing together or whatever. So whatever vision she saw, and whatever thing she wanted to push the more in the video, I just went on here and supported that. So.
All right. How did you strike the balance between the comedic tone and the underlying social tension during the film?
I just have a knack for that. I have the most inappropriate humor at times, and I do unfortunately make a joke about a lot of things. But it's not unfortunate because that we're talking about Black culture when it comes to the film, and that is that's part of Black culture.
We are roast the hell out of somebody.
Yeah,
or joke the hell out of somebody
and we'll be at a funeral, a wedding, or whatever. It's like, hey, don't do nothing crazy around Black folks because they're gonna talk about you.
Yeah.
And especially like being from a family who is like that. We always find ways to slip in a joke here or a laugh here or something like that. And I feel like that being a part of the Black culture. Many times we've gone through, like as a conglomerate, we've gone through so many hard times, ordeals for the past 400 plus years, and we've always had to make a way out of those hard times. And a lot of times that came through humor, which is why a lot of comedians who have traumatic pasts grow up to be like the funniest people ever. And it's like sometimes you have to laugh to keep from crying. So having that skill, I wasn't going to say it was easy because there was some difficulties and challenges with shooting this film and making sure that the message came across to the audience the way we wanted it to. But for the most part, we wanted to definitely touch on the social issues that we highlighted, but we didn't want to, serve it to the audience and
on a silver platter.
Yeah, pretty much. And we didn't want to just push it down their throats where it's like, oh, yeah, this is going on. This is what's going on, because it can be very daunting. So we wanted to still hold true to the message that we wanted to present to the world, but also, on a little jokey joke, every now and then, and it makes it more palatable.
I know.
We boring you, DJ? Okay.
You interested? You don't like our answers or something?
That's great. I love it. So these next set of questions are more about the writing and pre-production of the movie, so they'll be more directed towards Zay. Zay, as the writer and producer, what was the biggest challenge turning this concept into a shootable script?
Into a shootable script? I guess since I'm a student at SCAD, so this is Good Seats is a capstone project. And I think the biggest challenge was, when I came in with the script and making sure that the script was ready, going through those professors, I guess, was one, because they keep wanting you to change the script, and, everybody has their opinion, but not everybody really understands, because one, the professors that I had at SCAD, they're not, they ain't Black, for the most part, and then they don't understand the culture or the humor that comes into the script. So the challenge was getting somebody who really relates to the script and really understands what messages that I was trying to, those people that you need to just read and understand what you're trying to say and be able to articulate it and help you articulate it. And those were some of the most challenging things that I had to deal with, in the writing it and making it come to life.
Okay. How did the collaboration between you two begin, and what made this partnership work creatively? Shan seems like she has a fun answer.
Why are you looking at me like that? So it came Well, obviously, like being any student of film, you understand the importance of networking and essentially quid pro quo, meaning like I'll help you, you help me type thing. So the year before, I had to do my thesis project also at SCAD, and I relied very heavily on a lot of the other students to work my set, to work my crew. And during that time, I think, Zay, well, you were only, because you had other stuff going on, but anything that he could do to help, he was just like, hey, what do you need, this, that, and the third. And he was in the short time that he did work on my set, he was very valuable. And with that being said, anytime someone helps me out or anything like that, especially when it comes to film, I always try to do my best to return the favor, one. And two, I had read a couple of Zay's scripts, and he's a phenomenal writer. Sometimes, like, I could visually see everything from start to finish through his scripts. So after sitting down and I guess kind of brainstorming, this project coming from a situation that he and I had experienced together, I thought it was only natural for me to direct it because I could kind of visually see already, because I was there when the script was, I guess, conceived. But and the reason why I started laughing is because somebody said originally that they didn't want to work with me. No, he didn't say he didn't want to work with me. He said he wasn't sure if he wanted to work with me because both of us being Leos, we are very opinionated, very headstrong, and we know what we want when we want it. And I think that's one of the things that we love and hate about each other. Because I know when he's very adamant about something and he wants something, he's going to make it happen. He's going to get it done. And vice versa. So it's like if it's something on set and I know it's a shot or it's something that he said specifically that he wanted, I will do my best to be like, hey, this is what I want. We're going to make it happen. Thankfully, we survived unscathed. Is that fair to say? Unscathed
is
okay, we got
stretch.
We got some bumps.
I got scarred on this now. Come on. It ain't really,
we have some nicks and bruises, but we survived. But did you die though?
No.
Okay. So that's pretty much how it kind of came to be. And I am looking forward to working on his other projects, and I'm also looking forward to him working on a few of my projects that I have coming up. So we're gonna just try to keep the party going for as long as possible.
Okay. Now that's what she says of how this got started, I guess. Because what the question was again?
How did the collaboration between you two begin?
All right.
What made this partnership work creatively?
Yeah, so I think what made it work creatively, like the Leo I am, it was me. That's what made it work creatively, because I wasn't having nothing but what I needed to have, because this was stupid important to me. And just to be, keep it a buck. I remember Blake coming up to me and because we keep it, because one thing that I can, I guess, appreciate, we try to keep it as professional as possible because we are dating. So that was how we got together. We was out on a date, you know what I mean? And we went and we were talking about doing this. And as far as, the lies that she done told, because she's just telling so that she want to tell it how she want to tell
what do you mean?
So let's go ahead, because she was like, what'd you say about how we address what?
What do you
how you said
What?
Because
how did I say what? How did it start?
When I didn't want to work with you.
So you never said that you didn't want that
so
you never said that you was like, I don't know about working with you.
Yeah, but the reason.
What was the reason?
So let me tell you the reason.
What was the reason?
So the reason is I flew air. So I had a project with my Professor Hyde. right? And Professor Hyde, you know, shouts out to her because part of the reason why the narrative started out good is because some of the classes that I learned from Professor Hyde, even though a lot of motherfuckers that scared hate on her, you know, I'm not saying
I don't know her.
But
I don't
I'm
know
just
her.
saying. But either way,
I don't know her.
Either way, the lessons. So I flew out. What's the name? We had a little. What's the name? So move that motherfucking shit, man. Goddamn loud ass goddamn car for no reason. So, but to get back to the reason why is because we was in New Jersey. I flew a small crew out to New Jersey, to North New Jersey to film a film I got coming out, a documentary film that I got coming out soon. Be on the lookout for that, called Bye Felicia. It's about my aunt Felicia, and I went back to. We went and we did this documentary on her, right? All right, so. She comes as what did I hire you as at that one? Because I was directing and producing that one, but she was like my assistant director type thing, and I was trying it out because that was our first time working together. So when I did that, I invited my boy Steven, Trey, Phil Certified, and that was my small crew that I flew out there to listen to, except Phil, because Phil did her thing. She came by herself, but because she really wanted to be there. But everybody else, I flew out to Jersey so we can do this film. And when we got there, everything was cool. Everybody was chilling, hotel vibing. You know, I was really chill. But we had an issue that went on, and someone decided to say that they wasn't about to show up to set, that they was done for the day, like they was the boss. And that rubbed me all the way the wrong way. And I was like, oh no, I can't have no none of that on my next sets and stuff like that. And I told her, I was straight up. And I told her, I said, hey, I ain't having that.
Yeah, you did.
Okay, so that's the reason, since you brought it up, that's why I said that I wasn't gonna work with you. But eventually we is together, so I'm gonna have to do something.
In my defense, that set was very chaotic.
No, why you wanna call my set chaotic? Because it was not. Who was the chaotic? Okay, come on. All right, I'm simmering down. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Because you literally just said we had some things go wrong. So that's what I mean by the chaos. Okay. Like, it wasn't. Let me clarify. His set was not chaotic. Our subjects that we had,
and the people we were dealing
the people that we were interviewing, there was a lot of back and forth. There was a lot of, all right, we're setting up. Okay, now we got to break down because this person changed their mind at the last minute. All right, we packing up the equipment. Now we got to unpack because we done changed. So it was a lot going on, on and off the set.
Right.
And this particular day, it was a lot. And I was like, well, I can't be my best self today. So I was like, yo, I don't know if I'm showing up. And yeah,
and I wasn't having that.
He was mad.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Okay. Next question. What's up?
Battery swap.
Oh,
right.
because I need some air.
Go ahead. Press pause on that. I mean, press the record button. The record button.
Press it.
Yeah.
Oh. How are you drinking coffee right now?
My boss.
You about to be a heat casualty in a minute.
I ain't about to heat nothing. I'm the heat wave. Did you press record yet? Oh, shit. I bet. Are you ready?
I was letting y'all do your little dialogue.
Come on. I'm ready.
Okay. How did you drink? No, we already did that one. That was the last one. That was the last one. Okay. What was your approach to casting?
Oh, Lord.
What did you look like? No, you didn't say that. What was your approach to casting? What did you look for in Nate and Stephanie specifically?
I don't believe. Who put that question in there?
It had to have been you because, I don't bring up casting. Casting is one of those things. It's like, who's that guy on Harry Potter where you can't say his name? That's what casting is like for Good Seats.
Voldemort.
You ain't supposed to say his name, but yeah, I guess that's who it is. But yeah, we don't talk about casting on Good Seats. Mainly because
that was a struggle and a challenge for us.
It was a.
And it's not even that it was struggling with casting, right? It was maybe with the people casting. Yeah, it was all of it. Casting was a struggle for us, right?
Yeah, it truly was Murphy's Law. So anything that could have went wrong with casting, it went wrong with casting. We tried using a casting office.
That went sour.
That didn't work out the way we planned. And then we ultimately had to end up casting ourselves. We had our submissions, I wouldn't say they were slow. We had a good amount of submissions.
We had a whole bunch of submissions.
Yeah, just not what we were looking for in terms of the characters and things like that.
And then some people and then some of the actors wasn't even, once we sent them sides and everything, and the people that we were looking for, they really wasn't responding back in a timely manner. So
yeah, and then we got to a point where we thought we had our dream main cast, and then things happened with that, to where we had to do a lot of casting last minute. There were some people who did not receive a script until maybe 48 hours before we started filming, which was a struggle, but we kind of we made it happen. And honestly, we thought the issues with casting would stop once we casted. But then we still experienced problems all the way up until the end, especially with background. Because we're at a diner, we needed a lot of background. And I think we had 5.
We made it work with what we had.
Yeah, so that was definitely a challenge. But thankfully, I'm used to challenges, especially with filming and stuff like that. So I always look at it as a pivot. So that's a Friends reference. So all the time I was like, pivot, because that's what all filmmaking is, you're going to have a plan. That's what your pre-production is. You're going to have a plan. And then when it gets down to it, that plan may or may not work out. Right. So either you have a contingency or you just all right, we're going to have to make the best of what we have. Right. And we ultimately ended up doing that. We still had a pretty good cast though. Right. Our cast was really good. I think if we would have had the time and the rehearsals and stuff, they could have. And because how I direct, I want my cast to spend time with each other, and we just didn't have the time for that. And I feel like in some shots, it kind of reflects that a little bit to me. But other than that, I think they still did a phenomenal job, given what we had.
Well, I guess in my she already knows my opinion is different from hers.
Nice.
What'd you say?
Be nice, because other people don't see this. So be nice. This is why we don't talk about casting.
But since we on here, I want to give y'all the real spiel, because that's not. Because I I guess one thing you're gonna see in this video, I guess you're gonna see my personality. Sometimes it's really mostly straight up. I'm prior military, and I'm also a single black father. So my personality spills out a lot. Now I'm real straight up, I know what I want to see and I know what I want to have. We have our cast, which our current cast will, and this is no shade on our current cast. Shouts out to our current cast, who is Marcus, Lauren, Ashlyn. What's Colt's name? Ofo and Amber.
Amber and who's now? Colt. Colt was.
I remember that guy was so nice. He was good. He was good.
He was real good too. I can't think of his name right now. It started with a yeah, I don't know. We'll
Joey.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I could see the letter. Okay. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's Joey. And Joey like Tabana or something like that. Yeah, he was really good. He played our Colt. Really did good casting with Marcus. Marcus was amazing. Even though Marcus showed, I'm gonna be 1,000, bump that. You know, I got but I know you was named, but Marcus definitely was a little bit difficult, you know, with the questioning. You know, he was the only one, he didn't sign his SAG agreement or his contract until the last minute. And that really made things difficult for us to get everybody together on one accord. But he was, but when he got there, he was amazing. You know, casting was casting. Amber, and our two main characters, Amber and Ofo, didn't have a lot of time because we casted them at last minute. I don't care. What are you keep tapping? You tapping
because I'm doing it for the audio because the audio is gonna pick up you tapping. That's the only reason I'm doing that.
Okay.
But no, I've already released the rate. Look, you gonna say I'm not gonna try to stop you from saying.
Oh, okay. I'll just what's your name? Because I think everybody deserves to know the truth about what's going on and what's going on with the film. I think they deserve to know the truth about how we feel about our performers.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, the performances and everything that happened, we got. They didn't have a lot of time, but we still made a good film. Is what's the point of it?
Yeah.
Amber and like I was going into at first is going to tell you guys that Amber and Ofo was our second choices. They wasn't our top choice, but they were still amazing, in their own ways because they had a little bit of time to get ready, and for what time they had, I think we got some really good work out of them for what the time frame they had to get ready and read the scripts and know lines and be ready and be on set. As far as everybody else, I think everybody else just did amazing. They was one-dayers for the most part. They didn't have a lot of lines, just had a lot of actions, and they did pretty well. What do you think? Was that a good enough answer for you?
It was your answer. Something tells me that was as nice as it was going to get, so I will take it, and we can move on. Talking about casting.
Next question.
Okay. How did you prepare the diner space to reflect both the surface level normalcy, and the underlying tension?
That's a question for you.
Okay, so in addition to casting, another thing we don't talk about is set design. And mainly because in addition to being the director, I had to fill in a lot of other spaces or a lot of other roles on set.
Mm-hmm. And she wasn't happy about that, but like we said, we got to pivot.
Yeah. So
right?
yeah, you have to make it.
So you got to make happen what needs to be happen.
Yeah. So because at the end of the day, the movie got to get made. So if that means I got to step out from being a director to being a PA to being a driver to being caterer to being set design, it is what it is.
Thank you. Yeah, it's independent. It's independent filmmaking. So it come with the territory. Get over it.
Yeah. So in regards to getting the set together, we definitely wanted. I think Zay did a good job at finding the location on, I think, Pier Space or something like that.
I ain't going to reveal all of my
okay, my bad.
We'll
start over because
I just want to know that, let y'all know that the person that, thank you, shouts out to them. My friends up at Thumbs Up Diner, let us use their diner in locations. And the owner of that diner was spectacular. I'm going to definitely give her credit because if I don't, because because she had so much to do with us being able to get this film done, especially working outside the restaurant hours.
Yeah, for sure. I think to get a better idea of the space. So once he found the location online, they don't necessarily give you the address until you book. But me previously working for the FBI, I ended up finding the location and tracking the location down online.
Make sure you bleep out Peer Space too, because they ain't getting no free advertising off of me.
Yeah, that's true, because Peerspace, they be on some other shit. So once he found the location online, they don't give you the address until you book. So we were still in pre-production, so he didn't necessarily want to book the space until we kind of talked. We ended up going to the space. Well, I ended up hunting the space down. I ended up finding the address. And once we did that, because it was a diner, how many trips did we go? Did we take 2 trips there or 1 trip there?
3.
3 trips
We
there.
were like there 3 times.
Yeah.
And I think I went alone by myself to check it out a couple of times with somebody else.
Okay. And so we definitely did some recon work, which was really good.
Mm-hmm.
Before we got to the recon work, I went through the pictures because I found it on Google Maps, and you get way more photos on there than you do on the online booking site. So I was able to do street view. I wanted to see what the parking looked like. I wanted to see what the inside of the diner looked like. And being there in person, I think we went there, grabbed some food or breakfast one morning, and around the time they were closing up, so it wasn't a lot of people in there. So I was able to meet with the owner. I was able to walk around, take photos, and I pretty much put it together. So whatever I visually saw when I only read the script, I tried to put that imagery into the space that I was like standing in, or the photos that I was looking at. And then from there, you know, we kind of had to decide based off our tag script, like what items were we going to need, what were our background actors going to wear, things of that nature. So it was very easy. Once I got the space, it was very easy to go on Amazon, and literally I just filled up the cart with everything that we would need in terms of set design. And doing that, I knew because it was a Southern diner, because it was a predominantly white establishment, there were going to be certain Southern charms that we had to input in there. And the main thing being a giant American flag hanging up inside of the restaurant. So to me, having those Southern traits, those Southern characteristics, you have the
Which
diner.
I don't even think we got on camera. That was an important part. That was one of the important parts that we missed. But yeah.
But yeah, we
Yeah.
But it was that really helped in terms of setting the space and setting the tone that contributed to the story overall.
Okay. What was the mood like on set during the production, and did it match the energy of the scenes?
I don't know. You fucking telling me. What did you think of it?
I think the mood on the set was tired. Everyone was asleep. We were recording at 2 a.m.
That is fair.
That's fair. We
and
was recording till 3 a.m. Just a correction, you know.
Yeah.
And we ain't get out until 4.
So what do you think the mood was?
The mood was as
far as film people, you know, as far as film, that film is in our jobs, and so we got to think of it in that aspect, okay? Because, you know,
I feel the mood was pretty. I can just kind of think of it as like a locomotive. It flowed consistently. There was a lot of chugging along because people were tired. We did have an evening shoot, and a lot of people, you know, they had things to do during the day. Some of our actresses had jobs and stuff. So leaving jobs and leaving work and then coming to set till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, you can definitely kind of see it, you know, weighing on people from time to time. I know Blake specifically, she showed up late one day, not too late, maybe like an hour or so after call time,
'Cause
because
she
she
had work.
literally had to go to work. Which is why I like, that's why I fuss with Blake. Like, Blake's my girl.
Blake was the man.
But I still,
One
the
of
reason,
the many positives of Good Seats.
What was
Absolutely.
Blake's role?
Blake was the AD,
Yeah, all right, assistant director.
assistant director.
So she
sorry.
was the assistant to Shan.
And yes, she was my saving grace, because I probably would have lost my mind a lot sooner had Blake not been there. So
Her name is Blake Pitts, so if anybody want to hire her, y'all better go ahead and look her up because she is phenomenal.
she
You
is.
know, so she ain't gonna be on nobody's AD for long. So we're
Yeah.
gonna have to probably find you a new one.
Oh no, we're not doing that. But Blake, if you see this, girl, we locked in. But yeah, overall, the general mood was, everyone was tired. It was noticeable at times, but for the most part, everyone came in and got the job done. Everyone was focused. Everyone, for the most part, was where they needed to be when they needed to be there. And we didn't have to do too much corralling in terms of like looking for people and stuff like that. So I feel, the mood was okay. Especially considering the time of night we were shooting.
But did it match the energy of the scenes?
For the most part, the mood.
Let me answer this one.
Okay.
All right, so that last part of the question is did it? What's the name? Because at the end of the day, we had. Check this out. We worked in. This was an interracial project. You know what I mean? There was black people and white people, and they all understood the assignment. So everybody knew. So no, like Blake is a white female. Okay, I think that's what she identifies as, right?
I hope so. For the sake of this video. But
Yeah, and she was the assistant director on things on subjects that had to do with racial tension and stuff like that. So, and our director of photography, Griffin Davis, he also is he's white and he's a male. And he had to film this, and he loved the idea. He understood it. Their mood towards it wasn't in any kind of bias or anything. They just wanted to get the job done. So I think the way it matched on set, it didn't actually match as far because we had a good working relationship with everybody.
for the most part.
For the most part. Now, as far as yes, if you look at the funny thing about the film is that we was experiencing some moments with our own crew, being the leads, being straight up, being African American and leading this team of people. A lot of people, like we had the nerve, of somebody when I was recruiting for them to tell me that they don't want it to be like this other person said, and it's like because he was an African American and his stuff was not that great or whatever the case may be. So basically, they trying to group all of us African Americans together when one has a bad set or whatever the case may be. Like, they don't do that with their own people. I know that for sure. They just be like, oh, he had a bad day. He didn't have this. He didn't have that. They gave them excuses. But, it was important for me and Shan to make sure that, we represented ourselves well, and not just ourselves, because dealing with these people, and as a comment that he made before to me, it was like, hey man, we can't mess up because we don't need to look like no type of way, and we need to be all the way 100, even though they weren't. Sometimes that's just the facts, sometimes missing phone calls, missing meetings, missing what's his name, but even though their work still showed, hey, we are good, there were still some issues with them as far as phone calls, meetings, filling out their one sheets, and stuff like that. So, but
Yeah. but
It was saying, yes, it kind of resembled a little bit sometimes. Sometimes in ways that we would probably notice, but not as far as them, or as far as they probably wouldn't acknowledge it, because a lot of people notice things, but they just don't acknowledge them. You know what I mean? They'll choose to ignore it because, you know, if you act like you don't know something, then it's not there. You know what I mean?
Willful ignorance.
Willful ignorance.
Yeah.
Yeah, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and to the point, like to add to that, like they said, it was very important for us to make sure we were on our P's and Q's. One, because, you know, that's just, I feel like that's the work ethic that we have, which is one of the things that we kind of bonded over creatively, is because, like, hey, you know, prior military, like, hey, we have something to do, we're going to get it done. Mm-hmm. But on top of that, it was important for us, and it's always just important for Black creatives across any genre. So, you know, you have to show up and be your best self at all times. We don't have the luxury of coming in and, you know, at a baseline. Whenever we show up anywhere in any space, we always have to make sure, we always have to work 2, 3, 4, or 5 times as hard just to compete with, for lack of a better term, mediocrity.
Man.
And so to his point, yeah, before we were able to secure some of our crew, and, you know, because we kind of had similar issues that we had with casting, so parts of our crew had worked on someone else's set who was also a Black man. And immediately, even though Zay and I were on that set, we were not on in like any major capacity. I think Zay was acting in it.
I was acting in it.
And I was a PA who literally showed up like the day, like who hit the director up the day before. I was like, hey, if you need any help, you know, I'm willing to help or whatever. And just us being on that set, and that set really did have a lot of issues to the point where I walked off of set because I was like, I can't work like this. My work ethic would not allow me to. Don't do that.
I'm just saying.
Well, look, I will get the hell on. I have to admit that. So I walked off the set, but mainly because for the safety of the crew's safety was in danger in terms of and as well as the actresses and stuff like that. And I let the director know that that's not how I do business, and that's not how I operate. And I just didn't respect the decisions that he was making.
And those same people were like, you're right, thank you.
Yeah. And so, and you know what? I forgot about that. So,
exactly.
So it is
ironic that they go ahead and put that on us.
Yeah, that is very ironic. So one of the, well, no, so we dealt with that. But in terms of, so we always have to make sure we give 120 or 30 or 40 or 50% because eyes are really on us. And unfortunately, it's not in a good way, you know, at times. So. Yeah.
All right. Were there any unplanned or improvised moments that had ended up making it into the final cut?
All of it. We did so much pivoting. It's crazy. So the background was the major thing. We didn't have enough background to show up. So one of the things that we had to do with that is I just decided to lean into it. Mm-hmm. So I was like, hey, we only got 5 people here. I still want the quiz announcer to have the same type of energy as if the room was filled with, you know, a bunch of people. And I felt like that would add to some of the comic relief involved in the film. Another thing, we were not able to secure a prop car until literally the day of. And the prop car that we used ended up actually being our transportation driver, our transportation person who got everyone to and from set. And yeah, he showed up. He wasn't even at work. Well, I guess I can say because you're telling everybody else's business. It was my dad. So we hired my dad as a driver. And so he only worked, I think, like the first 2 days or something like that. Uh-huh. And then on the 3rd day, we didn't need him anymore, but he wanted to show up anyway because, you know, he didn't really get to see me work. And he wanted to watch me work and stuff on set. And while he was there, I was like, hey, we need your car. And he was like, fine, but you got to clean out the trunk. And when I tell you my daddy had everything but the kitchen sink in his trunk, I was like, forget it. So I literally cleaned his trunk out on set, moved everything into the trunk of my car, cleaned it, got it together, and we positioned it in the parking lot, and we used it for one of our shots. In addition, that particular shot,
It's one of the best shots that we got.
yeah, it was a pretty good shot. I liked it.
Good.
It was a trunk shot.
I do love that shot.
And it was a node
And that was
to,
unexpected for me.
it was a node to one of my favorite directors, Quentin Tarantino. He's very infamous for the trunk shot. So kind of like how Spike Lee has his shots with the moving dolly. Quentin Tarantino specializes pretty much in trunk shots. And a lot of his films like Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, he's incorporated the shot, and it's one of my favorites. So I wanted to make sure, I definitely wanted to incorporate that shot into the film, especially at the part of the script where he goes into the trunk. But one of the issues that I found when setting up this shot is the proximity that we were to the building that he walked out of and the surrounding business logos that were on the building at the time. And I was very adamant about not having, rightfully so, no logos in any parts of the film, because we don't want to have to worry about that on the back end. So we had to do a lot of, trial and error in terms of moving the car, moving the camera, moving the actor, zooming in, zooming out, just to make sure that we can get the shot that we need without having to worry about someone's logo or brand name or them coming back saying, hey, you used our, IP in this movie and we want compensation for it. Right. But yeah, so that was just to name a few of the things that we used to incorporate in the film.
How did you navigate the visual style to match the surreal atmosphere?
You take that one.
You the director.
What do you mean?
Visual style that matches the surreal atmosphere.
But I feel like that's a redundant question, because then we already kind of.
I think it might be. What's his name? We could just go past that one.
Yeah.
Because I think.
Yeah, fixing the location in with the style of.
I think you kind of went into it. He didn't act because it's some things that he ain't asking questions that you just answering. But definitely, yeah. Come on, next question.
All right. What's a scene that really surprised you once you saw it on camera?
Oh, well, I answered that one too. Shit, that was me this time. Like, karma come right back. Yeah, for me, it was the.
Hold on. This just shut off.
Yeah, the light.
Yeah.
Oh, is it dead?
Hey.
Is it dead?
No, put it back.
Oh, he said it just went off.
It's okay.
Okay, my
What's his
bad.
name? What's his name? Hold on. It's recorded still right there, right? Yeah. All right, let me look. I'll just finish answering the question. So it was the trunk shot. That was the surprising one, because I really liked that one. That was the one that surprised me the most. Next question.
Why?
Why? You want to know why? Because I think it's because I enjoyed it so much. I really enjoyed it visually. I'm talking about with no cuts or no nothing. I just watching the whole. So being able to see Shan kind of bring her, you could tell that she really do love that Quentin Tarantino, because when she shot this and got that visual down right, it was amazing. I enjoyed it. So good job.
Yeah, thank you. For me, it was the bathroom scene with Colt.
Oh, that was a good one. His name's Joey, though.
Well, the character Colt, but yeah, with Joey. He did a phenomenal job. I gave him some notes, a couple times. I don't know how, sometimes I just say certain things to certain people just to kind of bring certain things, and I guess I said the right thing, because Joey really showed out in that scene to the point where he walked out of the bathroom and the entire set gave him a standing ovation, like clapped him up. Like, he did like a really, really good job. And watching it on the monitor, I was like, damn, like, all right, go take a few minutes, go take a break, because he really channeled whatever it is that I saw in my brain, and he really brought it to the screen. I really liked it.
His inner school shooter.
Don't do that. Be nice.
Okay. These next few questions are more about post-production.
Okay, can we pause? Can we take a break? Can we pause? I need to put some, I'm getting ate up. Hold on.
motherfucker.
Alrighty.
Mm-hmm.
These next few questions are about the post-production of the movie. Zay, since you also composed the music, how did you use, let me re-ask that question. Zay, since you also composed the music, how did you use the sound to support the tension and transitions?
Say it one more time.
Since you also composed the music, how did you use the sound to support the tension and transitions throughout the film?
Well, right. So a lot of the stuff that, before it was even finished written, I had an idea of the aggression and emotion that I wanted to put in it. And I really didn't compose all the music by myself either. I had the assistance of my boy, Big Mike Woe. You can see his stuff everywhere. You know, he be in Heels for Atlanta and stuff like that. He do that voiceover, but that's what he's probably most known for at the moment. But that's not what he do. He a producer, and he's an artist that is talented in many areas. So I solicited him to come and help me do some of the music.
Maybe I had to get that out.
For real. But yeah, so he helped me compose the music, and we're not even really finished with all the post-production music that we have to do on it yet. But basically, we had an emotion that we wanted to grab out, and we actually did a 6 or 7 song mixed EP for the album. Can you help me out? What it? Because I'm having the brain freeze off a fart type, whatever.
What was, say the question one more time. What are you
I'm telling them, I'm like, yo, we have I just made the music for it.
So did you make the music first, or did you write the script first? Because I feel like you had some songs already together,
done.
And then you wrote the script, and then you kind of had an idea.
I kind of drove from some of the music that I already wrote. And one of the songs is Crash Out. So the Crash Out song, you know, is one of the things that drove this film into me writing the film and having some music to go with it. And I really wanted to do that. I miss soundtracks, and I really wanted a soundtrack for my films. And I was like, it'd be so cool to at least attach a song to the film. So, yeah.
Okay. Another question for Zay. What editing choices helped push the quote-unquote experimental nature of the film?
The editing, we're still in process of editing right now, is what I can tell you in that. The back and forth, showing perspectives is what I'm experimenting with. The choices that we are making without revealing anything, I can't really tell you because these are like things that one is, I guess, not normally seen in the film, or not normal combinations. Like you might see one thing without the other. So, yeah, but without telling you that, yeah. So yeah, you're just gonna see a couple of different combinations of things that you don't normally see as far as in shooting techniques and visuals.
Alrighty. Were there any scenes you found especially hard to cut out or shape into post?
No, I felt like I needed more scenes. I would like it more. I tell you that all the time, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, even like, cause she doesn't like my, you know, I don't know if you like it or not. Let me not say that. But in my critique, because I give her a fair critique. I don't like just as I know she's my girl and all that, but like I give her a real critique of how I feel about whatever job she's been doing or whatever job anybody's been doing or whatever. I give her my real opinions. So I did feel like that I wanted some more shots. I wanted some more shots. I didn't feel. I felt like I wish I could have got better. Somebody could have communicated to me the shots that was cut to see, because especially understanding that we shooting to make sure that the guy in post, because we are hiring a guy also to edit, help do some editing, some more proper editing. And we wanted to make the job easier for them. So being that some shots are cut, it's just like you got all the elements, but you know, things probably would be a little bit easier to understand with the full script not being, you know. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah.
What kind of reactions have you received from early audience or peers?
Well, I think for the most part, everyone just kind of seen the script, or you know, like in terms of crew. So like when you mentioned like Griffin and Blake and you know other people who read the script when they signed on, everyone pretty much everyone was excited about the script. Everyone was very eager to get started working, which ultimately led to the morale kind of. You know, because if the people don't like the script, if they don't like the story, especially if they're working on the crew or if they're acting, it's gonna be kind of hard to get them into the job or the role that they're playing. So thankfully, everyone who read the script was really excited to work on it and to get through it. Especially, I guess since it was a SAG project, or it is a SAG project. So everyone was really excited about everything. Now, in terms of the footage, some of the clips did receive really good reviews and feedback while we were filming on set, you know, through the, like, people watching, standing around Video Village and stuff like that. So we do have a lot of really, really good shots. And I think people, even with some of the missing scenes and cut scenes that we did have to do, I think people will still enjoy it overall.
Ditto.
So how about the few people, whoever they may be, that have seen the rough cut of the movie so far, since it is still
what did Kunstler say?
in editing?
I guess my professors and some fellow students, because I had to show a rough cut in class, and everybody thinks that, all right, one, you know, I had some suggestions saying that basically they wanted some more shots. They would have liked to be better with the act. They would have liked better actors, just to be 100. That's what they said. Some of them, they really enjoyed the mime, the mime that we have. We have a mime in the film. They really enjoyed the mime in the film and Colt's performance, but we had stronger performances from other characters that we needed those stronger performances from. And that's just me being in the honest area, because it's like, cause in every film you think that you would like everything to be perfect, and everybody would want to say like they film is perfect and good and this, that, and the other, but it really don't be. You know what I'm saying? You have parts now. Ain't everybody, not the average eye is going to see it either. You know what I mean? My eye is going to be different from the regular consumers. So consumers going to see it, and I understand. Consumers going to see it, and they're going to be like, oh, it's fire. I don't know what he was talking about. But I worked it. I see it for what it is. So I know more about this film and know what was supposed to be going on. But as far as what people think about it, everybody loves it. People love the film as a whole. Just for everything that she said, the script translates to the screen very well. And the performance was able to bring it out. So we didn't have any. What do you think about it? You seen it?
I think the mime is a big draw movie. Because it's like the mime's almost like out of place, but he adds like a sprinkle of like what's going on, like why is he even here? But then and things happen in the movie or in the film that make it fit into it better without spoiling.
Yeah, you can't spoil it, but
Spoiler alert!
I'm like, yeah, you about to spoil it, but go ahead.
I had to stop myself. Okay.
Sound it out.
I don't know where we're at. Okay.
That's fine.
Has the message of the film landed the way you hoped it would?
Yes. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
watching it back, you've seen the message that you wanted to portray?
Yeah, because it's not really a message to it. You know, this film it's really people are gonna be able to choose what message they see. So that's why we have so many different perspectives. So the message is whatever you take from it, for real, for real. I'm not asking you to see my vision or see what I see in things that I'm talking about in my conversation. Have a conversation with yourself. What parts of this film, like when you see it, they're gonna ask themselves what parts of it, they're gonna identify with the parts that identify to them. Some people gonna identify with the like I'll spoil one part of you people. You know, white people. Somebody might say, all she said was you people, because they are people. And then the other side's going to say, shit. You know, it's going to be, everybody's going to have their own part where they represent, or this is a film to spark conversation.
And I think saying that it does it changes the answer to the question. Well, at least for me, whereas like I feel like it does accomplish what we set out, because I remember our earlier conversations in pre-production where it's like, hey, we just want people to have the conversation. So It's like we don't really have a message that we're putting out because there's so many layers and so many nuances involved in the film on like a very low level, like you people, which is an example. Somebody might not find offense to that, while other people may find offense to it. Some people may recognize the passive aggressiveness or the subtle bigotry and racism involved, and other people may not. The bottom line is, as long as you're talking about it, have a conversation about it. Like that was the main goal from the set to the mime. Like, hey, if you're like, why was this mime in there? Like, everything, that's just the overall goal, is to just start the conversation and see kind of where it takes you.
Okay. Where is the audience going to be able to find the film? And what are your plans for distribution or festivals?
Ooh, that's a question for me. Because I am going to place this film on my website. It is playboysagas.com, PLAIBOI.com.
Sagas, you didn't spray the sagas.
Damn.
It was good though. It was
Okay. All right.
Okay, wait, also, so wait.
One more time. All right.
Reset.
It is at playboysagas.com. That's PLAIBOISAGAS.com. PlayboySagas.com, that's where you're going to be able to look at it once I put everything and submit it to film festivals. Because I'm not putting it up until after film festivals, after I put it in film festivals, and we definitely are taking the film festival route. So.
Alrighty. Last two questions about artistic reflections for the both of you. What did this film teach you about your own creative voice?
It's not it didn't necessarily teach me, but more so like reiterated something that I've learned from my previous films. And that pretty much is understanding the difficulties of one being a Black person in any film or any type of space, creative or professional, but also navigating being a Black woman in certain spaces. there are, like, as a Black female director, I do have a lot of difficulties from time to time on my set, particularly people having to answer to a Black person and a Black woman. And I have spent a lot of time trying to navigate how to get the film made, get my point across, but also try not to fall into that typical trope or stereotype that Black women tend to have, where we're difficult to work with, we have attitudes, and we're disrespectful and things like that. So pretty much it's a full-time job, even just shooting a film, because I have to worry about shooting the film and articulating and getting across what the writer and the producer wants to articulate. But I also have to do it in a way that's not going to, one, betray myself as a Black woman, but also try to maneuver around the stereotypes that people have already placed on, and the judgments that people have already placed on me prior to even working with me, which is what we talked about earlier with our other guy. But that was the main thing that I kind of pretty much, I guess, relearned or, re-understood working on this set. So that's what it was for me.
So for me, it just put in my head that I can do this. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times they look at me and automatically think I can't do this. You know what I mean? Because, about the way I present myself. And I need to do this, in full-blown authentic Zay. You know what I'm saying? And that was my main goal. And just to be honest, I had some fears about doing it like that, and then, people want to play dress up and put, take out their grills and cut their dreads and type thing. It's a lot of different nuances that people put on you. And I kind of just wanted to do this, the full authentic me and my personality without having to pretend to be somebody else. And now that it's done, it's like, hey man, I can do this in my own way, independently. So, because I know people ain't really trying to hire a nigga like. I'm sorry, I'm about to say nigga. I already said it, but I know people ain't trying to hire a nigga that look like me, or do shit like I do, or have the background that I do in some areas. But at the end of the day, I'm practicing. I guess Who said it? Tyler Perry, I guess. Make your own seat at the table. Make your own seat. Make your own table or whatever.
That was the Wayans.
The Wayans?
Yeah, the Wayans brothers.
Oh yeah, because I love them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the Wayans. I really love the Wayans.
Well, maybe Tyler said it too, but I know the Wayans for sure.
Yeah.
They talk about that a lot.
Right.
Which is why they come up with all their own stuff.
So I don't really care about what industry doing. No more. This gave me the confidence to do stuff the way I feel like it. The way I want to. And that's the way I'm gonna continue to move in the authentic Zay.
Alrighty. We got 5 minutes on the camera. You want to try and finish this last question?
Yeah.
If you could sit in the diner with Nate and Stephanie after the film ends, what would you want to say to them?
Or Nate and Stephanie, or Ofo and Amber. Nate and Stephanie. I wouldn't necessarily say anything to Nate, because you already see
Nate on edge.
Nate is on edge, and also Stephanie don't play that. So right. I'm not going to be talking to nobody's man, because Stephanie ain't about to cuss me out for nothing. But to Stephanie, I would definitely have a conversation with her in regards to, girl, people put stereotypes on us all the time, and we don't like it. But you definitely had your nose turned up, and, you did the same thing. So I feel like a lot of us, people of color, we have to be mindful of, hey, if you don't want it done to you, don't perpetuate the energy that you don't want coming back to you. And also, girl, don't be yelling out stuff during trivia night. Girl, you know this. You know better. But that's about it.
I guess, and then I guess I would be talking to Navy because we've probably been together, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I would have been like, bro, did she even realize you were talking about the mom?
Oh yeah.
You know, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'd be like that. I'd be like, he would have been like, saying, man, she don't know what the hell going on. I'd be like, they just over there not knowing nothing.
La, 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 la,
They in La La Land, but we about to get out of here. I'm like, you ready? We're saying, do you really want to wait for this food?
Nah.
Yeah. Do you really want to wait for this food? We can go down the street. Or I'd have been like, man, we just live here. We don't have to eat it and be nice to these people. Let's go.
Yeah.
That's what I would have been like. Yeah.
Okay, that's a wrap.
It's not.
That's the last question.
Nope, you got 5 more.
A second page, you're right. It is today.
But yeah, go ahead.
Final 5 questions.
Uh-huh.
What motivated you to pursue crowdfunding for this project instead of traditional funding routes?
All right, so we didn't do any crowdfunding. I'm gonna just tell you that off the top. Like, we paid for this. I paid for it mostly, so I would say 80% I paid for. Another 20, Shan paid for it. She committed all the way. So we paid for this strictly out of our pockets, and it was almost like 10 grand gone. To make this movie happen. Paying, everything. But we are going to do crowdfunding for the post-production. And the reason why we're doing crowdfunding in the post-production, because one, we want to, try to recoup some of the money that we already earned from spending over $10,000 on the project, which, just to be 1,000, people ain't out here spending that kind of money and trying to make a good production, and paying people to do a weekend production.
Because the cast was not cheap.
Yeah, the cast was not cheap, yo. The cast wasn't cheap. So we paid, not giving y'all specifics, a pretty large amount, over 10,000.
And festivals are expensive.
So
the good ones.
We're gonna crowdfund for our festivals and for our travels for those, and et cetera. And also mostly we're gonna crowdfund for post-production for our post-production editing.
Because editors are not cheap either.
Because editors aren't cheap. So we want to go ahead and crowdfund for those things, yeah.
We need a battery swap.
Oh, all right. Press pause. Cut you.
Okay. What was the key message or emotional hook in your campaign that you believe got people to contribute?
Well, ain't nobody contribute yet. But what's the key message for our campaign and what we think, maybe,
Better yet, what is the key message for the coming campaign to get people to contribute?
What do you think?
Honestly, from my perspective, I'm more so trying to sell, I guess, you or just us versus the film. So the key takeaway or key message for funding is hey, we're two Black students who go to a predominantly white Asian school. We come from backgrounds and we both have similar journeys that have led us to this point, but we did not foresee us making it to this point. Mm-hmm. And I pretty much want people to know that, hey, you will be supporting people who are really trying to make a difference, really trying to make a change, and who want to tell stories for us and by us. Not to speak for myself, can't really speak for Zay, but I know the reason why I'm a filmmaker, became a filmmaker, because I'm a lover of movies. I've been watching movies since I was a kid. Like literally, like I was a latchkey kid, I was always in front of the TV. And as I got older, I realized that there were not, a lot of the stories that I loved did not, the characters did not reflect who I was as a person. They didn't look like me, but I still loved them nonetheless. And as I got older, I realized that, hey, we deserve to see ourselves in other roles that doesn't include drugs or sex or violence or drama or things like that. Like, you know, we need more superheroes. We need more rom-coms, you know, things of that nature. So that it's very important for me to tell those stories. And I think it's very, very important for people who look like us to know that those stories out there and they exist and they're not, you know, too far out of their reach. And so I'm pretty much trying to get audiences and our future investors to see that, hey, we're making a way out of no way, and we're putting in the work. We have that ambition, we have that desire and resiliency to really push, you know, more positive Black narratives. How about you?
Just to make sure I'm in. All right, so I say the question one more time so I can make sure I answer this right. I think this is an important answer, important question. So let me say it one more time again.
What's the key message or emotional hook in your campaign that you believe will get people to contribute?
Right, that part. Because I need people to contribute, right? And that's not even a question. That's like a statement. That's just facts. I need the support from my community. So I will go ahead and do it just like what, double down on what she said, almost. Is that, quite frankly, you know, I'm doing it for the culture. You know, and that's just like that statement is real to me, man. But saying because I be sick of, you know, I don't want to fight with, you know, my peoples, or I don't want, like, I'm really trying to heal from the things. Like, I remember E.T. say, you know, like E.T., I listen to E.T. like almost every morning.
Who was E.T.?
E.T., Eric Thomas, right? And Eric Thomas would be like, you know, I think the statement he said was, "You right. What they did to you isn't right. What they did to you back then isn't fair." You know what I'm saying? But what they did to you was 20 years ago. So, and you still harping on what you doing right now, type thing. So, it's like, I understand that the things that was done to me in the past wasn't right, but we're trying to heal from it, right? And my healing kind of involves doing these films and talking about it with people who have stories like me. So I would end it with one of the, like how I said, one of my favorite professors, Miss Hyde.
Why you keep giving Miss Hyde?
Because she was one of my favorites.
Okay.
Because I don't care what nobody else think about nobody. You know what I mean? That's just my whole thing, is that I'm independent, I'm me. You know, I don't care what nobody else feel about who I'm talking about. You know what I mean? What you gonna do to me? Not saying that it's you, but like, what you gonna do to me for liking who I like, or whatever. You know, she was a person who influenced me. And I have to give her credit because that's why I was able to, you know, stomp on some people and be like, and move forward on some things, because the main thing that she said is, tell your story. You know what I mean? That she was just like, tell your story. Can't nobody else tell your story the way you can except you. And then there's other people out there just like me who rock these grills, who like wearing flashy stuff, who like looking good, whatever the case may be, who like being their authentic self, and they understand the stories that I'm about to tell. So I would tell, so like you said, invest in somebody who want to tell the stories that you want to relate to, because, you know, just be 1,000, Tyler Perry, you know, people like me ain't relating to Tyler Perry all the time. Tyler Perry's cool or whatever, but we ain't relating to Tyler Perry like that. He ain't putting out movies for niggas like me. Just 1,000. He not. He putting out them for the sisters, you know. And I support sisters, and I support my sisters as I do, right? Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, I'm catering towards the future my son is gonna come up in. So I'm supporting black men, and that's why I'm gonna heal our culture, and I'm gonna focus on that.
Cheers to breaking generational curses. Because that's all it is.
These next three questions are kind of speaking as if you've already crowdfunded.
Mm-hmm.
Still want.
Can you rephrase it, or do you?
Some of them, like
just rephrase the ones you can.
All right.
And then and then we'll move on, and then just end it with the one. If you can't rephrase it, then you just end it.
I mean, I'll rephrase it. It's just like this question, for instance. What advice would you give to filmmakers trying to stand out in a What advice would you give to filmmakers trying to stand out in a What advice would you give filmmakers trying to stand out in a crowded crowdfunding space?
Oh. So yeah, I'm gonna answer this one with this one because she doesn't really have any involvement with how the crowdfunding is turning out. I do. I'm doing all of that. And basically, I'm looking at the space of the crowdfunding, and everybody's trying to get some money from some people. But where we stand out is where we just talked about and what we're doing, the things that we're talking about, the culture that we're trying to. Like everybody is trying to do their own, healing of the culture thing. But the way you do it, the
style. Yeah.
It's so. What are you offering? Okay, I got in Mr. and Professor Faruqi's class. He brought in one of his boys who made like $50,000 from crowdfunding site Seed and Spark, right? And that is a crowdfunding site that we're using, and we need to get. And basically what he says was you got to offer people things. He wants to offer people. You got to offer people things that that you can, that's tangible, that you don't have to make, that you don't have to spend money on. That's what I'm trying to say. Things that you have to give people things that are tangible that you don't have to spend money on. So one of the things that I did was, like you said earlier, make the music on my
soundtrack.
On my sound for the soundtracks. And then the soundtrack is going to be provided on the crowdfunding for everybody to have when they donate. So also another thing that we was named album artwork, the artwork that's coming in inside to the behind the scenes videos that we're offering a whole bunch of things that are extras, and instead of going and paying for it on the streaming site, we're giving it to the people exclusive, so they can follow along. Even this video, doing this and talking to you guys and trying to like talking to the people, letting them know your intentions and stuff like that. It's important to people. People don't want to just give you money. They don't owe you anything. Don't nobody owe you nothing. Like that's how I think when I go on sites, because I be interested in funding people. So and putting and donating. So don't nobody owe you anything. Tell me why. Let me know. And if you do that, like as we are, people will give.
Okay. Not sure you want to rephrase this one, but what were some of the biggest mistakes or lessons learned during your fundraising process?
Start early. So, even though we funded our project by ourselves, what I would recommend to somebody who is going to be doing crowdfunding is, as soon as you know when you're trying to that you're going to be crowdfunding, or as soon as you know, bump that. As soon as you have the idea to film, start setting up your crowdfunding, because you're gonna need all that time. You need a large gap of time to crowdfund for. Now, it's going to be in the first 30 days and the last 30 days that you probably receive the most money, or whatever the case may be. But as long as you start early on the planning, plan, you're gonna get the 20,000. No problem.
And be honest about your budget.
Yeah, be
And
honest.
stick
Do
to
not
it.
lie about your budget, please.
And stick to it.
Yeah, do not lie about the budget. People understand.
How did you maintain momentum and keep backers engaged during and after the campaign?
Now that's a question that we haven't got to yet. We'll see. We'll see how this ends off, right? Yeah, we'll see.
The final question. Your film explores the idea that there's often more going. Your film explores the idea that there's often more going on beneath the surface than most people realize. In what ways do you think crowdfunding mirrors that? How does community support reveal unseen belief in a project or its creators?
You understand that question?
Yeah.
Do you want me to rephrase it?
Say the last line again of the actual question.
How does community support reveal unseen belief in a project or its creators?
Unseen belief. So in terms of donating, because donating is about community, because in 2025 now, everybody is living check to check for the most part, and they got debt, they got stuff, they got kids they gotta feed, so on and so forth. So everyone's not out here just willy-nilly giving their money up, especially to projects that some of them don't have anything to do with them. A lot of people don't really care about the film industry, don't really care about what other people have going on, because they're more focused on their pockets. So I feel like when someone does give, it kind of refutes that mindset that, hey, there are still some people who are willing to, despite what their financial background or situation may be, they're still willing to support other people's dreams and support what other people have going on. Another thing is we live in a society, an environment that pretty much breeds individualism. So we're kind of like, as days go on, we shy more and more away from being an actual community, because everyone is out for self. A lot of people live alone. They don't live in combines no more. They don't live in homes anymore, together. Everyone is just kind of spread out all over the place. And therefore, it becomes very difficult for people wanting to help someone else when they're used to just being with themselves. And it's not anybody's fault. It's just more so, again, by design. So when people do give, it kind of also refutes that mindset, and it sheds light on that, hey, despite what agenda is being pushed in regards to everyone being to themselves, there's still a certain sense of community and humanity amongst people in a country that's constantly divided by insert random political problem here. People are still supporting each other, rooting for each other, and wanting to see each other grow. And I really appreciate and I like that.
Ditto. What she said. Say less. You know what I'm saying? Say less. That's it. And so, is that, you guys?
All the questions.
All right. So, how you gonna outro us, motherfucker?
Yeah.
What you got going on? You just say that's all the questions and that's it?
Now, you give your closing statement.
Oh, you want me to give a closing statement?
Yeah.
Oh,
Don't get too crazy.
Can do you want me to give the closing statement or you?
Well, we can both give a closing statement. All I'm just gonna say is, hey, when y'all see that Seed and Spark or that crowdfunding, $1, 50 cents, $2, nothing is too little. We do have goals that we're trying to
I ain't gonna
get
lie,
to.
50 cents is too little. You at least gotta put,
Yeah,
put $2 in there.
Okay, at least $2.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
$2.
Don't 50 cent me. All right, no, I'm just playing. I'm just playing. I'm just playing because
Well, yeah, we are grateful.
50 cent me all the way to 50 million. I'm cool. And, you know,
Yeah,
but
if enough
it's all
people
good.
get 50 cents, then
Enough
yeah.
people be 50 cent, they be good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, we love for you to support us. Please watch Good Seats. We hope you enjoy it. Be sure to donate, like, and subscribe, all that jazz. And yeah, we hope you like the film. That's my closing. When you go ahead.
Well, that's her closing.
Mm-hmm.
Because whether or not you like the film or not, I'm gonna come out with another one.
And another one.
And another one. Tell them. You know. So I hope that you understand. I want you to like it. I don't need you to. And I hope that your perspective and the questions that you ask yourself tell you a little bit about who you are when you watch Good Seats. And I hope to see you guys around the next crowdfunding and the next.
Yeah, so support us now, because when we
now.
get big, I don't want to hear about, oh, I knew that. We don't want to hear it.
Because I ain't gonna lie, I am him. So, you know, I'm trying not to be too bad because I know why, you know. But yeah, I know, you know, I'm about to start I'm about to be back outside. I've been inside for a little bit, you know what I mean?
Not in this heat, y'all.
I'm about to be back outside and I want everybody, if you see me in the streets, I'm not T.I. You can act like you know me, you know, and please talk to me about the film, talk to me about your projects. I want to hear about yours. Email me about your projects. You can reach me at zay@playboysagas.com, or you can reach me.
No, that's it. Or
That's it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. I ain't gonna spell it for you again, but no, ZAY@playboysagas, PLAIBOY. SAGAS.com. And please check out the website, you know, and
yeah, that's it.
that's all, folks.
Now get up and like go through the door.
Oh yeah, because it's now.
Yeah, get your stuff in. Listen,
Really?
that's it.
Whew, yes, AC.
Is what's saying? Leave that there.